me. My name is Yari Churdy, and I work at Family Life Services. We are your friendly local neighborhood pregnancy center. Raise your hand if you've heard of us. That's fabulous. I am not surprised because I try not to play favorites, but I have looked into it, and you guys are our #1 supporting church. We are actually ministry cousins. Thank you for that. We don't get to exist without the generosity of you guys as a congregation, and I wanted to start by thanking you in that. If you don't know what pregnancy centers do, we help women with unintended pregnancies, and we do that primarily in lots of ways, but they fall into 2 buckets. One is by providing them with material assistance after they've made a choice for life, and the second is by making sure that we can be that stopping gap before they reach an abortion provider to actually help them make a choice for life. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to work with me as I talk a little bit more about that second aspect, not as much the material goods side, okay? And so we're going to start by trying to understand a little bit about how abortion is here in Michigan. And I'm going to share with you this slide that is the bad news slide, okay? Not only is Michigan in the top 10 states in the entire United States in terms of abortion numbers, but Washtenaw County, if you guys know our map, is the one right next to Wayne County. And just in our Tri-County area, more abortions happen than in 20 states throughout the United States, okay? So the potentiality, because we're making a really positive spin on this, for us to make a big impact is huge. Okay? This next slide I'm going to go ahead and show you actually is also a really great news slide, okay? There was a survey that was done by people who market to pregnancy centers, and one of the biggest obstacles that we have is in actually reaching women that are making that time of choice, okay? So they asked more than 200 pregnancy centers across the nation. They said, are you reaching women that are actively choosing to either abort or continue life with their pregnancies? And you'll go ahead and see that 50% of the pregnancy centers that answered that question, less than 10% of the patients that they were seeing were actually actively choosing to either carry or continue their pregnancy or abort their pregnancies. And what that meant is they were either in lower volume markets or they weren't being effective in reaching those women in their time of choice. And here is Family Life Services, right? In the top 85%, where about half of the women that we see are actually actively deciding about their pregnancies. And that allows us to become more effective. And it's also far more expensive to run as a ministry because we have to focus on medical care and marketing, right? Go ahead and hit that next slide. We actually were able to move forward with a new name in 2022, and we didn't change the nonprofit side of our ministry, so we still will partner with you guys as Family Life Services, but our digital online presence is through Sienna Women's Health. And I'm hoping just to give you a quick understanding of exactly how effective that has been with our next slide. You can kind of see how ultrasounds, as we introduce women to their children, is a really, really important part of what we do. And this is the part too where if you guys are getting excited about seeing this kind of progress and understanding a little bit more about how we can help women, I'm going to ask you to start getting your phones out, because in just a couple slides, I'm going to be inviting you to come to our space and learn even more about how we've been able to be this successful in reaching women. In 2012, we actually saw the most number of scans before this last year in the history of Family Life Services. We were open 5 days a week to do over 300 scans, but most of those women were continuing their pregnancies when they came into our center. So we were like that other part, you know, the majority of pregnancy centers. And as we went without focusing on marketing and without focusing on a medical model, our volume went down, right? And then we went and took some very intentional changes in 2021, and we started to go ahead and see those increases that you see, that change in direction. And I'm really excited to have everybody clap for this next statistic. In 2024, just last year, because we switched from being open 3 days a week to 4 days a week, we were actually able to, and focus on marketing and our medical model, we were able to break our historic record of the maximum number of scans that we've ever done in a year. Can you guys please clap on that? That's 319 scans that we did, mostly on women that were considering abortion, okay? And we aren't able to have that kind of success without partners like you. And so what does that mean? It means that we could do more. We have this idea that God really wants to help women in Washtenaw County even more. We were able to run a very successful campaign that got us open for medical services 4 days a week, but there's that last day. And I'm here to go ahead and tell you that there are 3 different abortion providers in Washtenaw County alone. More than half of the abortion providers are within an hour's drive of our center, and the majority of abortions are actually happening online, with now the possibility of things like telehealth, okay? And that actually relates to this lovely story that I'm gonna share with you. Rosa was actually somebody who came into our clinic, and she was 9 weeks along. That's important. Why? Because the cutoff for having a medication abortion is 10 weeks. She thought she was 9 weeks. When she went through that scan, because her sister told her to come when she found us online, she found out that she was 16 weeks along. And we had the experience of her sister talking through, there's no way you're doing anything to that baby. We're keeping that baby, and she chose life. It was so important that we were able to meet her exactly when she needed that help. Okay, we found that there's a 20% difference in show rate when you're able to make that same day appointment. And currently not being open on Tuesdays means that if you call us on Monday afternoon, we can't get you in until Wednesday, right? And that kind of urgency is so important to women. Go ahead and click on that next slide. To give you an example, I'm telling you about numbers right now, but we all know that these are lives being impacted, right? And I'm wondering, this was the representational photos, guys, of the kind of increase that you've already seen on the last slide. Go ahead and go to that next slide. This is the difference just 3 years have made in our ability to make impacts for life choices, okay? And what I wonder is exactly which of those babies is gonna look most like Rose's baby when that baby is born. And if we could possibly come together as a congregation and make that change to be able to be open 5 days a week, exactly how many more babies are going to be on that slide the next time we see each other? The last slide that I have here for you is just an invitation. Saturday, April 26th is the next time we'll invite people into our center to be able to take a tour of our space and learn even more about the success that I'm inviting you guys to be a part of. And I'm also just excited to say that on May 8th, we'll be gathering as a community to be able to have our biggest fundraising event of the year, our Night for Life. It's a lovely chance to get together here at Weber's, not that far from here, and see exactly how we can provide and be the gap that women need between abortion providers and really being able to see a witness for the beautiful life and plan that God has for them and children. Thank you so much for the time. God bless you.